Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name is Mike Amos. His name is Ken Rice Jr. Bill Rice Jr. And of course we appreciate him being a part of our show each morning on Facebook, going across the nation, across the world. Yeah, he didn't realize that he'd be looking into a TV set that's got millions of other people reviewing it every morning.
Well, I should have gone into hair and makeup before I came on. You know, our hair and makeup people.
Yeah. You know, Carter Sanders is, man, he's involved in everything. Pike County artist Carter Sanders, I didn't realize he was an artist of Goshen, won second place in the Society of Arts and Crafts Waterfront Showcase in Montgomery this past weekend. And
that's a striking photo they've
sure
got.
Is. He really is. And Sanders award-winning.
Read about it in the Messenger.
Winner entry was a 3D mixed media piece that featured poultry, wood, glass, resin, maca wood.
I know.
Wood for, of course. He is definitely a man of many good things, and he is a fine artist. And his art is on display.
He's a nice man.
Yeah, he is. He does a lot for the community, no question about it. Makes good stew too, doesn't he?
Yeah, his Camp Stew's famous. He does the Salvation Army Camp Stew every year, though.
Yes.
And he travels all over the world and to South America. I know that.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, Troy lost one of his most beautiful women. You know, of course, she was not living in Troy at the time, but Mary Helen Cornelius. Yeah, well, is that, how did you pronounce that?
Cornelison.
Oh, that's and her name formerly, though, in Troy was Mary Helen Berry.
Okay.
And she was a beautiful, beautiful girl. She was a cheerleader at Troy High School, and she was that cute cheerleader too, beautiful cheerleader.
Oh.
And of course, she's 3 years older than me, but I remember her. Let's just say this little boy looking out at the pretty girls was she was my favorite.
Wow.
Mary Helen Berry is dead at the age of 77, and our prayers and our thoughts go out with her family. And she was the daughter of Ewell Berry, who cut meat at the grocery store for so many years. But of course, she had a brother named Bubba Berry, and he's no longer with us. And then it had a sister, and her name was, let's see, she was, Brenda Berry. And so I remember all those girls, and very, very beautiful girls they were. Of course, we are awfully anxious this day and time about loved ones that we've lost. And
says Morganton. Where was it?
What now?
Where was she living?
In Morgantown, in the Carolinas.
In North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah. I remember she came down for our reunion not too long ago. And now something else that's going on right now. Voltage Academy of Dance opened its doors on Tuesday morning with a big ribbon cutting. Kelly Sanders, the owner and founder of this wonderful new group in Troy, and her husband Stephen looked on as they cut the ribbon of Voltage Academy of Dance. Now, are you very familiar with this, Ryan?
No, but I want to learn more.
If they dance, if they bop, Kelly, if they bop, I want to be the first one on the floor. I tell you, I love to dance, and you didn't know that about me, did you?
No,
Ryan?
I did know that about you. You said that a few times,
but,
and I've heard it from others.
I love to bebop.
And I'll tell you who you like to... Who your favorite dance partner is?
Oh, Mary Jo Rape, no question about it.
Right.
Mary Jo Rape is my favorite dance partner. She's been that way since she was in the 5th grade. She and I were in the 5th grade.
So y'all been dancing together since y'all were in 5th grade, probably doing square dancing in PE.
I know it, but the bopping
When y'all learned the bop.
started when we were in the 5th grade. And we used to watch those big people bop, and we said we wanted to be just like them one day. Yeah, the Messenger's got. I tell you, I love your brother's patriotism, and this was in the Messenger today, and that flag of the United States of America, and somebody, y'all get this was located in the Wednesday edition, which you get free, and so everybody gets them. Get this and paste it on the wall somewhere, and then be proud of it. Be proud of that American flag. I know I am very proud, and would fight for it today if I had to. Okay, looking at some other things, Bryce. What's been going on with you? You said you went to had your little girl soccer.
Yeah. It was one of those double headers. Maggie had a soccer game, or they call it a soccer match, I think. And then Jack had a flag football game. So we were out in the sportsplex with the rest of humanity. Mom goes to the soccer game, and I go to the football game. They were about at the same time. Yeah. And then you just see which one finishes early. And both of the Rice Kids teams came out on the short end in kind of lopsided games. Our team, the Saints, Davis Sanders, Luke Sanders, and Dana's child, looked good again. He's going to be a really good scat back, wing back.
That's right.
He's real aggressive and fast, and he had a long touchdown. But the team we were playing, the Chiefs, they're my pick to win the Super Bowl of 5-year-old flag tag football. They had some people I'm going to tell Coach Saban to start watching right away.
Of course, Coach Chip Lindsey went before the news, or before the
1 or 2 press people that cover the team.
1 or 2, the press people that are covering Troy football, and this is what he said: "We are not happy with how we played last weekend." Head coach Chip Lindsey said, "I thought we missed a great opportunity on the road. Give ULM credit. I thought they outplayed us on the."
Good morning.
Morning.
Your dad's reading a Chip Lindsey quote.
He said, "I thought they outplayed us on the in a lot of areas, but at the same time, we are not happy with our performance on Tuesday." Lindsey reflected on Troy's loss and also how they looked ahead for their game with South Carolina this weekend. So he felt like penalties played a big part. Troy was penalized 10 times for 90 yards, and that's bad. More penalty yards than rushing on Saturday. Troy had 67 yards rushing. So,
I've never seen a spread offense. I mean, especially Chip Lindsey's offenses, like, they have to go fast and have to be in rhythm. Like, I mean, you got to have a positive play on a drive. If not, the drive stalls usually.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. I don't remember Neil Brown's offenses being like that. I don't really remember Tony Franklin's offenses being like that. But Lindsey's are really playing fast as they possibly can. A couple times, offensive linemen didn't even get set, and they snapped the ball.
Yeah.
So of course, that was going to be a penalty. Yeah. But almost to the point where you're almost too fast sometimes, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, and don't tell me I'm wrong, because I know the difference. I've been out there. Sometimes officials get upset that you're moving so doggone. You know, you're about you're moving so much, they're almost breathless out there. And sometimes they say, well, golly, I got to slow this thing down, and this is crazy now. You know, so you throw a flag, he'll catch somebody moving and throw a flag, and before long, they've got to slow down.
Yeah, might be right.
So those
I'll say one thing: they're still 100% confident in Taylor Powell. I mean, offense coordinator Luke Meadows came on, and Chip Lindsey said the same thing. I don't think we're gonna have any kind of quarterback change going into South Carolina, because I mean, he was doing the interviews. They actually had him interviewed, and the kicker, Booth, who transferred in from Georgia. And I found out an interesting story on him. He actually was recruited to Georgia to play by Shane Beamer, the South Carolina coach, when he was on the staff of Georgia. Recruited him to come in as a kicker, and he actually did kick off. He said, a few games at Georgia. So that's a pretty good gift to get a guy that actually kicked off in SEC games to come in late like that to be your kicker.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And of course,
we finally attempted our first field goal in our fourth game, and he knocked it down the pipe. I mean, I know it was only 32 yards. But, I mean, isn't that amazing that we went 4 games without kicking a field goal?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But of course, we look now toward
South Carolina.
South Carolina, and I said way back when, Mike, that I think Troy had a shot at them, and I still think they got a shot at them if they'll come back and play good football.
I don't know how you could even look at that anymore. I mean, you're talking about one of the worst teams in college football. Just absolutely manhandled you. I mean, just blew you out. At Lon Monroe, you're a 23.5-point favorite. I mean, can you imagine getting off against the SEC defense that held Kentucky, who has a really good offense this year, at 16 points?
Yeah, that's right.
Also scored 2 touchdowns against Georgia's defense. I mean, there's just no way, in my opinion.
Well, that's your opinion, and you got it. And of course, some of those coaches out there start saying, "What do you know? What do you know?" Well, I tell you what, he's been with me enough to sit there and look at it and can tell the difference. I know this.
Well, I mean, I remember Charlie Bradshaw. I remember Shane Gailey. I remember Rick Rhodes. I remember Robert Maddox. I remember Larry Blakeney. I remember Neil Brown. I know Chip Lindsey now. I mean, I've seen all these teams. I mean,
you're right.
I have witnessed many of Troy game, and I've worked in the athletic department and I was around the players for 3 years. I mean, I know what it's like, to be around Troy's program. But I mean,
you love Troy's program. There's no question about it. You love Troy's program.
It hurts. It hurts a little more when Troy loses. I mean, it does. I mean, I'm a huge Alabama fan, and my family's had tickets to Alabama games for 25 plus years too. So I mean, I'm a big supporter of both. But I don't know. I just don't know where the locker room is. I mean, I know our defense is one of the better defenses we've had in a long time, and it's not the defense side of the ball that's hurting us right now. And the head coach is also your offense coordinator and play caller. So I mean, I don't know where you go.
Hey, I know this, Coach. Hear this, Coach. Now tell me if this is sound. If you say this is sound, me and you are watching the wrong football team. A play-action pass on the goal line caused a safety. And without any doubt, what in the world are you doing from the 2-yard line running a play-action pass where all the defense is doing is bull rushing your offensive line? And sure they're going to break through and get a safety. And
we had
a
safety. They had a pick six. Troy had 100 more yards than Louisiana Monroe in the games, I think.
Well, now it's time to forget it.
I mean, my question in the press conference would have been, I mean, what did Louisiana Monroe do to surprise y'all? I mean, were you surprised? I mean, did you think they were more athletic? Did you think they were better than people thought? Like, nobody even asked those questions in the press conference. I mean, that's like the first thing I would ask. Like, what did Lon Monroe do to surprise you?
I did ask one kid yesterday when I was walking around, and I walk around out there to the campus a little bit, and he said, well, now, one of them was a fluke, and I said, which one was that? That last one where it was deflected in the other guy's hands, just like he almost gave him a touchdown, went 99 yards for a touchdown. He had to that one was a fluke,
Well, that was like an Auburn. We already mentioned that. That was like an Auburn, Alabama. Mac Jones, Mac Jones came in for Tua against Auburn in the Iron Bowl and hit Najee, and the guy picked it up, ran 100 yards for a touchdown.
It's a 14-point swing. Well, they got their backs against the wall. Probably the best thing in the world is that they got South Carolina, because if they could upset South Carolina, that would put this behind us and make us.
quarterback.
Maybe.
I hear a little girl in the background. Is that Mary Prater or is that Millie?
No, that's little Billy. Little Billy's here throughout the show.
Maybe if they're embarrassed and have some pride, they'll want to make a statement to the world with the South Carolina game. So let's see, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Vegas is thinking something's there. So that's the only reason I give it any kind of hope is that Vegas is that line being set 7 points is just like a really.
Well, it did go up. It did go up from 6.5, didn't it?
I was listening to the National Sports Talk Radio on the way in, and the DA, the host, was perplexed by the Georgia-Arkansas line, which says Arkansas is ranked number 8 in the country, and he says he thinks they're a legit team, and they're an 18.5-point underdog to Georgia. He says, why are they a 3-touchdown underdog to Georgia? So I thought, good question, my brother.
Which one is that now?
Arkansas, Georgia. Why is Arkansas such a big
No respect. But you know what? That's what fires up teams. That's what fires. A good Arkansas team now is fired up. Will get fired up.
Yeah, they've been dissed. They're the no respect.
They don't give it respect. They think we're a fluke. They think we're a fluke.
We'll show them.
Troy has released three.
Troy line is very interesting. Also over under. I mean, this is one of the lowest over unders you'll ever see in college football. 43.5.
That is unusual.
That means 24 to 20 goes over.
I'm about to think that South Carolina's going to get 43. Don't you think?
I'm kind of like you though. That's hard for me to even picture Troy getting 15 points.
Defensively, I've been looking at the score all week. I see like a 27 to 13 score, something like that.
Yeah.
Michael, I want to ask you about one of the most surreal stories I've seen in some time. You mentioned Tony.
I'll be right back. I got to go.
Take care of the little girl. Yeah. I want to mention that Troy.
Well, we'll come back to that. There is a bizarre story involving Tony Franklin and Auburn's head football coach that came out on AL.com. We all remember Tony Franklin.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Have you know what a podcast is? You can do a video and put it on the internet and talk about whatever you want to.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Tony Franklin has a podcast.
Tony Franklin, the former Troy offensive coordinator.
Yeah, the spread guru.
Yeah, okay.
He's a real character.
I know he is.
And he don't back down, as you're going to see. He does a 22-minute video just taking apart Auburn's football coach and criticizing him for firing Cornelius.
Yeah, that's right.
Who was one of his former players at Troy.
Right. That's right.
So I kind of respect that. He says he has thrown this kid under the bus to get people off his back.
Yeah.
The guy did not deserve it. And then he just goes further than that, and he just attacks Auburn and their football program every way you can. Says they're soft, terribly coached. Said the offensive line is terrible. Said receivers were the best coach position on the field.
And he got bad.
Says he's already worried about the Auburn boosters running the program, and he was trying to throw them a bone to take the attention off of him. He's scapegoating this Auburn.
Do you have some tape on that?
Well, I guess you could watch it. You could go to Tony Franklin's podcast. It's on the web, and it went on for 22 minutes.
Now, he's still at Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, I wonder what his coach thought about him.
I missed all that. So Tony Franklin's been real critical of the firing of Cornelius Williams at Auburn.
In a 22-minute podcast where he just goes on and on and on and attacks Coach Harsom, like I've never seen a coach be attacked by another coach.
Man.
He helped that time Kentucky get put on probation when he was there. That was a big controversy. You know, he was involved in telling on a lot of other assistants way back when back in the Mummy days. He's always had a huge opinion. I've heard him in interviews and stuff before. He called Feinbaum one time and had a long, crazy conversation with Feinbaum.
Did he? Oh, gosh. Well, he was a friend of mine. I liked him when he was here. But he never shaved. He never combed his hair.
He had his office in the press box.
He had his office in the press box. He didn't care what people thought of him one iota. But He was
He
outstanding.
was a really nice guy, though.
Yeah, he was. Really, had great family.
His favorite restaurant was Mr. Ho's. He told us one time he went to Mr. Ho's 4 nights a week.
Well, you know, I hadn't thought about it, but he's defending his player, and he is standing up.
His former player, yeah.
And you know, this receivers coach that used to be at Troy probably did get a terribly raw deal.
Well, let me just say.
You know the guy they hired, though, which makes no sense, was the former offensive coordinator at Boise State for 3 years. Then he was the offensive coordinator at Fresno State. Was the quarterback coach, receiver coach at Washington under the great Boise coach. Drawing blank on his name right now, Peterson.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's credentials were through the roof. Why in the world was he not the receivers coach in the first place?
Yeah,
well, when you get a chance, Michael, you read it, and then I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, what I heard he's got 6 guys with SEC ties. He's got Bobo. He's got Mason that came from Vanderbilt. Bobo was at Colorado State, was a Georgia offense coordinator, South Carolina offense coordinator. He's got 6 guys with Southern connections on staff, and then he's got 4 guys from out west. And I think he's battling, you know, with loyalty, maybe issues, and maybe dealing with the fact he's kind of questioning why he didn't bring in more of his own guys.
Yeah.
Well, Franklin called him soft over and over and over, and basically a hypocrite and a coward and poorly coached. And
you mean, yeah.
Boy, I don't look at a Harsin type guy. I look at him being soft. That dude looks like he's all man there.
I know it. But,
he's a pretty bad dude.
So this was shocking. I'm not making an editorial comment one way or the other. I'm just telling everybody what happened. But yeah, it's.
They said the off-season physical conditioning program, Clarkson's running the drills with them. See, imagine that.
Oh, man.
Coach is doing the drills.
Yeah. I want to give
you. This I will definitely. How do I find that, right?
I think it was posted on AL.com last night. Go to the sports and the Auburn section. And,
you're right. You're right. Yesterday, I didn't realize Maryland and Iowa. You know, Tua Tagovailoa's brothers throwing. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa or Talua Tagovailoa. Tua's brother is throwing for over 300 yards a game for Maryland. Undefeated Maryland against undefeated Iowa. It's going to be an interesting game this week.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Maryland's coach do well, and Tua's little brother do well, because he's always said real nice things about Alabama and Coach Saban, Coach Loxley.
Yeah, you know, he's really turning around. I don't know if people realize he used to be the head coach of New Mexico, and when he was at New Mexico, he was 3-31 as a coach.
He had a terrible record. Then he was at Maryland, I think, or somewhere before, and he's got the worst record ever for somebody hired as a head coach.
I think Gene Chiswick was second. He was like 5-19 at Iowa State when Auburn hired him.
Yeah, but I want to watch Maryland. You know,
Friday night at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, Maryland will host Iowa. Iowa's a 3.5-point favorite.
You can't really blame Tua's little brother for transferring, because he wasn't going to beat out Mac Jones, and then Bryce Young comes in, and he's definitely too good to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah. Mike, something surprises me here. And it says Troy sets game times for the final 3 home games, and it says that they're going to play South Alabama at 2:30 on a Saturday. I thought they were going to play them on Thursday. Didn't you think?
I don't know. I never looked ahead.
I mean, I know it, but I thought that Troy was scheduled to play on a Thursday night.
Somebody told me that Troy didn't have any Thursday night games this year.
But maybe so. And of course, they play South Alabama at 2:30 on Saturday.
See, that's one I thought we were going to win, but then all of a sudden, you know, you got one game, and then you suddenly reassess every game that comes after that.
Yeah, let's look at Troy's rest of Troy's schedule. That'd be something good to do. Troy's 2-2, playing South Carolina this weekend on the ESPN Network at 2:30.
And that's a great way to watch Troy. That's like a prime network.
It sure is.
Yeah, the only problem is there's a game called Alabama Ole Miss at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so Troy goes to South Carolina this weekend. I'm going to say Troy does not win that game. I'm going to say we lose and go to 2-3. What do y'all think?
I would say that would be what most people would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your score too, 27-13. That sounds about right.
Troy's gonna play them good. I think Troy will play them good.
Next week, Georgia Southern comes to town. Their coach is fired. They had players jumping on top of the buses, drinking beers before game. Georgia Southern's 1-3. I don't know who they play this weekend, but I guess Georgia Southern's down, even though they almost beat Lafayette, which is kind of scary. Does Troy beat Georgia Southern?
Yeah, I think they'll beat Georgia Southern at home.
Coin toss, maybe.
I'm gonna go and say they can find a way to beat Georgia Southern at home. I'm gonna say they go to 3-3.
What is it?
Then they travel to Texas State.
Should win that one.
And Texas State got beat by Cardinal Word and AA, and it's now struggling. They almost beat Baylor at the start of the season, which is hard to believe.
Yeah, I know.
At Texas State, I think this game's a coin toss. I think any game Troy goes on the road is going to be a coin toss.
But I think I'd give them Troy the win.
No, I say if they can't beat Louisiana Monroe on the road, they'll probably lose to Texas.
For some reason, Troy seems to play this bunch well. I don't know why.
Yeah,
they do usually blow Texas State out. I'm going to say they find a way. I'm going to say they go to 4-3. And then Thursday night game here, Dad, October 29th on a Thursday night, they travel to Conway, South Carolina to play Coastal Carolina. So they'll have 12 days to get ready for Coastal.
Oh, okay. Then Coastal, they play them at their place on a Thursday.
We don't have any Thursday night games here.
Yeah.
And that game was already scheduled for national TV on ESPNU.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I think about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go Coastal to win that game. Troy goes to 4-4. I think Rice maybe down 3-5. And then after that, you're back home on November the 6th on a Saturday at 2:30 against South Alabama.
And that game's a 2:30 kickoff.
I think South Alabama's due to beat Troy, and they got more momentum than Troy does.
We're going to find out that it looks like they've improved their football team with a bunch of transfers.
How's their transfer quarterback doing, Michael? Have you been looking at his stats?
Bentley, yeah, he's thrown for 200 yards every game. He's looked pretty good.
Is he the former kid from?
He's the guy whose dad was the running back coach at Auburn, and then his dad got a job at South Carolina, and Bentley was at Opelika, and he ended up finishing early and went to play at South Carolina.
He did not even play his senior.
Yeah, he should have been a senior here in high school.
He was playing college football when he would have been a high school senior.
That's right.
Very right.
Yeah, and then he transferred out and went to Utah and played last year at Utah, and now it's the starter at South Alabama.
Yeah, boy, he's been around, hasn't he?
I'm going to say if South Alabama keeps the momentum they've got now, I'm going to say they beat Troy as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Now everything flips and changes if Troy can pull the upset and beat South Carolina, because then they would.
Well, I think that's how bad that Monroe loss is, because then you would have been 3-1. Because then you face this.
We're trying to make us a bowl trip if we can, you know.
You got Louisiana Lafayette at home for homecoming on number 13 at 2:30. I just don't.
They're more physical than we are.
Yeah.
And then another game at home after that, Appalachian State. And after watching Appalachian State a couple times, I just didn't see there's any way we could beat Appalachian State. And then, after watching Georgia State against Auburn on the road, last game of the year on November 27th against Georgia State, I don't see that one either.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
The last three games are going to be brutal. Lafayette at home, Appalachian State at home, and Georgia State on the road.
Well, all from one game. Just, if Troy wins that game, it doesn't even matter if they win it ugly and they're flat.
Yeah.
And then they play good against South Carolina, maybe upset South Carolina. Then you think we can win every one of those games we thought we're now going to lose. You say, well, we can win every one of those games. Not anymore.
And then you run into fan base issues. I mean,
the one thing you don't want with a coach is fan apathy, disinterest. Boy, when that happens, you're sunk.
What is there over what kind of record is it? Did you come up with?
I mean, right now I'm looking at best 5 and 7.
5 and 7. So if we win one more game, that we could have a chance to go to a bowl game, even with it.
It comes down to the 5 bowl tie-ins.
No doubt.
And you got to have a winning record, a better record in your conference play than the other teams.
Yeah. And then of course it also doesn't look good to know that this is a team that lost to Louisiana Monroe.
And the fans aren't going to follow the team. You know, there's no interest in there's a big letdown.
Did you know? I mean, realistically, it's amazing. Like if you would have beat Law Monroe, you would have been 3 and 1. Even if you lose to South Carolina, you're 3 and 2.
Yeah.
And then you're back home against Georgia Southern, who's down. You go on the road to Texas State, who we have beaten 3 or 4 straight times pretty handily.
Should have been 5 and 2.
Troy easily could have been 5 and 2 with an off week going into Coastal.
Then you got everything in front of you. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll tell you that it flips with one game. It's like Coach Stallings always said, these are games you're supposed to win. And people say, well, no big deal. Why are we playing this game? It's not important. Coach Stallings would always say, well, you just lose it and see if it's not important.
Well,
and Troy has just lost it.
That Beamer for a young coach is impressive in interviews. I think he's pretty sound. He's got a good coaching staff. He's going to be ready for Troy. He knows how important this game is to win. Now, they went on the road earlier this season, barely beat East Carolina. And, you know, going into the season, a lot of the football magazines had Troy ranked higher in East Carolina.
Well, he'll find out. If he loses, he's got all these good feelings, and all the media likes him because he's a nice guy and does good interviews. But you let him lose to Troy at home and watch and see what happens.
Well, I will tell you this. Anybody out there, I've got 2 South Carolina tickets I'll give to you free. Free. Today, I've got 2 tickets and they're good tickets too. They're just 13 rows high on seat 1 and 2, and I will give them to you.
If you support
it's a great game day experience. I mean, they're located not on campus; they're at the actual fairgrounds. But there's
But it's not far from that campus.
Everybody tailgates from the cabooses and. A lot of atmosphere. I mean, 80,000 fans. It's a cool. If you're looking for a stadium to knock off your SEC bucket list, it'd be a good one to go to.
I couldn't find anybody that would take me from the. I had my schedule changed so many times, but again, I paid $45 a piece for those tickets, so I'd be glad to let you have them free. Just get up with me today.
Wow, that'd be a great trip. I would make a weekend out of it and catch some of the cities and sites in South Carolina.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not too far from driving over to Charleston.
You know, the more I think about it, Rice, if he was willing, give me a willing guy to go, I would love to see a upset. Now, see, it would be a real treat to go over there and watch Troy upset South Carolina. Troy and South Carolina.
I just don't see offensively how that can happen, though. Can you?
Yeah. What kind of quarterback do they have?
We barely scored 13 against Liberty. That was a late touchdown with a minute left. You score no points against Southern Miss in the first half. You scored 3 touchdowns in the second. And then you score basically 10 points. You score a touchdown with 38 seconds left.
I think, I'm with you. They can't score touchdowns, so they would have to maybe score 2 touchdowns, which would be awesome. Yeah. And then you got to have a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown, and then the defense play over their head and hold them South Carolina to 17 or 20. You might win 21-20 or something.
Yeah. Troy has nothing to lose in this game. I wouldn't care if they started the game with an onside kick. I wouldn't care if Chip Lindsey threw 4 halfback passes or triple reverses or just anything to get this offensive going. I mean, they've got to do some kind of trickery. They can't do it just lining up and marching down the field on somebody. I mean, he's supposed to be an offensive guru. I mean, everybody saw what he did at Auburn that year with Stenham. I mean, Stenham, had an unbelievable year his junior year, beat Alabama. Everybody knows the huge numbers he put up at Southern Miss. He had a good offensive team at Arizona State. And he had a good offensive team at Troy his first year under Caleb Barker. You know, this is all on Lindsey now because he's offense coordinator. We all know he calls the play.
And of course, Kenneth's people that have been solid performers like Marshall and on defense. You know, I can see Troy holding down South Carolina, but I can see South Carolina holding down Troy. So it's a sort of a talk of, I think both defenses are going to do their job. I would think you would have to think that South Carolina has more weapons than Troy has, but you don't know, you know.
Well, they got their quarterback back.
I can live with Troy throwing 5 to 10 deep balls to Reggie Todd. The guy 6'5". I mean, let him jump up, let him try to make the play. I mean, if it gets intercepted, it gets intercepted. But at least we're trying to throw the ball downfield. Yeah,
that is so important, Coach. Please be hearing our message. Throw the ball downfield. I tell you what, you've got Todd. How tall is he, Mike?
Oh, he's a legit 6'5", 215.
You got a 6'5" guy that ought to be able to go up and get it, and you ought to throw it to him downfield and make things happen.
It's a jump ball. You're right.
Let me tell you this, and this is one of the reasons I would like to go to the game. We're talking about they're going to have, I don't know if they'll have 80,000. You know their fans are down on them probably. Let's say they have 60,000 fans. That's still a lot of fans. A lot of heartbreak fans that if we went in there and beat them, it would hurt them bad. Well, I like to beat the big boys. I like to beat the SEC team. I think that's a great mark on our program. A performance here and beat South Carolina, I would think would make up for the hardship they had last week at Louisiana Monroe.
It's the best thing that could happen.
Best thing that could happen
is you have an opportunity to go from this is the end of the program dire to elation and
right. You know what? Let me tell you this. I'm starting to wish I was at that
I can
football
tell.
game.
I can tell.
Well, but because it could be.
There's just no way.
No, don't do it. Don't go.
I sat there and watched it.
You instead might be depressed.
No way you can watch that team and want to go watch them.
Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. I've got hope, and I know all those players pretty well, and I've got hope that they might.
It's inside them.
It's almost, Mike. I need to be there. I
think let's put it.
We are Troy.
The glass half.
We are Troy.
We've talked about the glass half empty. Let's talk about the glass half full. Liberty's got a good football team.
That wasn't a great Syracuse team to beat them.
That's true, but they're pretty good. And Troy was not, just dominated by Liberty. So and then I just think they went to La Monroe and they weren't ready. They weren't interested in playing.
No,
they were completely flat. And they're not good enough to win like that. So if you got the best Trojan team, and then South Carolina's not at their best. They're probably overlooking Troy, so that's good. Troy, it wouldn't stun me if Troy beat South Carolina. I'm not expecting it, but it wouldn't stun me.
So, I mean, if Troy pulls a miracle and wins in South Carolina and Chip Lindsey finishes 7-5, I mean, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing for Troy's program?
What do you mean now?
Well, let's see how they finish.
I'm saying this is a good thing for the future.
The defense is showing progress.
Does one win save your coaching career and save your season? I guess
it's how you finish. Let's see how they finish.
Let's see what Will Matthews has to say.
Oh. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
Will Matthews, how y'all doing?
We thought it was going to be Coach Chip Lindsey calling us in and telling us what he's going to do to beat South Carolina, Will.
Oh, Lord.
Hey,
Will, you're an Alabama fan. Of course, you went to Vandy or a great golfer there, so you're a Vandy guy and an Alabama guy. But, I mean, as an outsider, seeing Troy going on the road, 23.5-point favorites, and pretty much getting blown out by Terry Bowden and Rich Rodriguez at La Monroe, who had lost 12 straight college football games until they beat Jackson State 12-7. As an outsider, how do you look at that game as a football program? Where would you say that football program's at?
Now, Troy's a dumpster fire right now. I looked at their schedule; they could lose a majority of the rest of their games easily.
Yeah, we just went over it as well.
Yeah, it's bad. South Carolina's a bad football team. I don't know if South Carolina can score 23 points.
I don't think they could either.
And that's the only hope, because I don't think Troy can score any. So,
Well, Troy is somehow a 7-point underdog on the road against the SEC team, which has never happened in the history of Vegas spreads for Troy University against the SEC team.
You mean the spread is 7 this weekend?
Yeah, it was 6.5. It was 6.5 yesterday.
Something's wrong. I don't know. I
Would you still consider going? I'm serious.
I think I'm going to no, not after that Louisiana game.
I mean, seriously.
Because I think it would be really ugly.
It was 6.5. So I mean,
I don't think. I think you're gonna play them tough.
I'm going to go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it this weekend. I'm going to have to put something on South Carolina.
Be careful. Be careful. So all I want you to remember is how you treated me on that California team out there at Fresno, and then again, and then you was it Baylor? Was it Baylor that he said he'd run around naked? Or what?
No. I was against Baylor.
I tell you what, it's going to be at 2:30, and you're going to be in Gulfport, Mississippi. There'll probably be a lot of Alabama folks, a lot of Ole Miss folks down there. So I'm imagine around 2:30 to 6, you won't see anybody there.
That'd be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
They've got Michael. They've got TVs in the casino. In fact, they've got a big screen that's probably 100 feet wide.
Wow.
They'll be showing games.
Where are you? Which casino are you going to?
Island View.
Yeah.
I went the first time they had legalized gambling in Mississippi. I had never been to Biloxi. I'm not a big gambler besides my $10 bets on football, but I wanted to see what the sports book looked like, so I booked a room, and my wife said I could go, and I made bets at the Beau Rivage, which I'd always heard about, and watched college football all day in their bar, and they had about 30 TVs. It was cool. And there were a lot of people there making.
I'll be going to Vegas in a month, and they have sports books in every casino. And like literally, I mean, you had to basically rent a table just to be able to sit down in there. That's how many people come out. And then they have the big bettors that come in, and sometimes you'll be there and they'll be watching to see what some of these big guys pick, because they're like known big time prognosticators in gambling.
Yeah. Well. Let me say,
and a guy was placing $5,000 on every game.
Yeah.
Good God.
I'll tell you this. Give me the points, and I'll take Troy. Give me the points now, and I'll take Troy.
Well,
You
wait.
lost your mind.
Yes, sir. I do not think that South Carolina is going to blow Troy out. I don't think they'll blow Troy out.
Well, they barely beat East Carolina, and you think Troy could hang with East Carolina, right? So there you go.
But two different teams match up differently in all this, and I was looking at Georgia State. Nobody gave Georgia State a chance, and they should have won the game. You know,
I thought that. I don't think I bet it, but I was thinking Georgia State was a good game, because I remember last year they were really competitive and athletic, and I remember when they went to Tennessee and beat Tennessee. So I was not terribly surprised at all that Georgia State was hanging with Auburn.
I bumped in. I was out at my favorite grocery store, Well, my favorite grocery store is Piggly Wiggly, but I was out at the newest grocery store and bumped into Troy's safety, Mike. What's his name? In the aisle, he was just buying groceries just like I was. And this happened just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
What's his name, Michael? He's outstanding
The guy
safety.
that had the interception pick six in the first game?
Michael must have walked away, didn't he? Is Michael still on there?
What team are you talking about?
What's Troy's safety's name? The all-conference safety. What's his name?
Oh, for Troy this year?
Yeah, right there.
I don't know if we got to have an all-conference safety.
Well, he plays safety for Troy, and I talked to him in the aisle, and I said, "Are y'all ready?" He said, "Yes, sir." And he was talking about how he we let his fan base down this past weekend, but he said, "We will not let this fan base down." And looked me straight in the eyes. He said, "We think we can win." So that's what that was coming out of the Troy camp.
All right. That's
And
good.
that's from a player.
On the cereal aisle at a local grocery store.
And I believe it was the cereal aisle.
Or maybe it was the Campbell Chunky Soup section. Sitting there talking to the safety. If it's the safety I'm thinking about, he's a good player.
Yeah, he is. Michael, you know who that play.
Who was the first
safety
game?
is.
Liberty.
I mean, we had a cornerback that had a couple of interceptions, but that was Zion Williams, but he's a corner.
No, not that dime. It's the safety, and he's a good one.
You're talking about the kid from up in North Alabama?
That's right. He's from.
I know you're talking about. I can't place his name right now.
But what I'm saying,
He blocked the kick against Liberty.
yeah. Well, I'll say this. I think we're going to play them. I think we got to. I've always said I thought we had a bigger, stronger, physical team than we've had before.
Well, the players are going to like it that they're on the SEC network, pretty much nationwide
a lot of
TV.
Kimberly, yeah, you're right.
This is why they came to Troy to play in these type games, so that they should be up and ready to play. And plus, they are embarrassed. Like this guy obviously was embarrassed of what they did at La Monroe, and so.
Of course,
You're talking about T.J. Harris?
no.
He's one of Troy's best safeties.
No, this guy's been there for a while. He's preseason, all conference, and everything. But let's just say this: this is South Carolina's game on the SEC network. You know, they're throwing them a bone, and this is a great opportunity to show
Well, here's what
everybody
they're
what
gonna
we
say.
got.
I know you talked to Dale Pettis.
That's who it was, Dale Pettis. Now he's an all-star.
Harvest, Alabama, Sparkman Hospital.
That's right, up in North Alabama in the Huntsville area, and he's a fine kid. And he said, Mr. Amos, you can bet we're going to play our butts off to remedy what happened this past weekend.
The defense isn't the problem, though. We've talked about that numerous times.
Yeah.
Brandon Hall ought to have every Power 5, program out there, especially programs that are going to be hiring new coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get a big-time defense coordinator job. He's done great the last couple of years.
Well, and I say this, and I saw this kid play with my own eyes, talking about Troy's backup in Gunnar Watson. He is a very good football player, and if Taylor is not producing, is not moving the football, why not bring in a good quarterback? Now, let me tell you something. This is a good quarterback sitting on the beach.
Right.
He's proven a good quarterback. Bring him in unless you got something personal against it. That's what I'm thinking. It might be something personal against it, but that we have not seen this kid play because he is really a talent that's sitting on the bench. And I'm not saying Taylor can't do the job. He looks good. I saw the second half I was there in person, second half of the Southern Miss game, and he looked great. But other than that, he has not looked great to me in any quarter.
I've seen him play.
Watson last year was 70.1% completion percentage, ranked 7th nationally. He also averaged 238 yards passing a game, despite missing 3/4 of the Georgia State game. He threw for 2,141 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's no screwball sitting on the beach. I mean, that kid is talented, and and I'm not saying that he's better than Taylor, but I'll
just say if you need a spark and you're not scoring,
yeah,
do what Auburn did against
Boy, he wasn't, yeah. And of course we've got
changed quarterbacks,
yeah.
and then you say what you want. That took some courage for Auburn's coach to
exactly right.
change the quarterbacks.
And Mike, what do you get from this, or what do y'all get from Tony Franklin's, deal of attacking Troy's coach? I mean, Auburn's coach.
I think he has tremendous respect for Cornelius. Cornelius and him go all the way back to the Hoover days. I don't know if you realize, but Tony Franklin wrote a book about Hoover player.
That's right.
During the Croats teams back when Hoover was so great that died. So he wrote a book about that and raised a lot of money for the family. That's kind of when Tony Franklin was kind of quarterback consultant, offensive consultant. He would go and actually help all these hospitals throughout the Southeast start to spread. So he's very close to Cornelius, and I'm sure he's just defending one of his former players.
And
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of crazy, but I think Auburn's going to beat LSU.
boy, you're right.
Because I feel like LSU's got their own issues as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, their quarterback is carries a big name.
I think Bo Nix is going to be the one to beat him, though.
Well, that'll be interesting to see who he starts. Either way, it's another great game in the SEC. Boy, I can't remember a week in the SEC where you had more compelling games than you have this weekend.
Tell us about.
And more and more of these insiders, big-time names are coming out and predicting Ole Miss to beat Alabama, which I just do not see happening in Tuscaloosa. I can see it in Oxford. In Oxford, I think Ole Miss would beat Alabama, but in Tuscaloosa, I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I've seen it happen.
Even though I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
You freeze there.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this. It's a difference in somebody coming out and just upsetting Alabama with a big play, Hail Mary play for a touchdown, something like that. But I don't think, with Alabama being told that this team's going to beat them, you don't tell Alabama that Ole Miss is going to beat you. You don't tell them that Auburn's going to beat you. You don't tell them LSU is going to beat Alabama. That's when you get your brains beat out, and then I do believe that's what's going to happen Saturday. All these people believe in this. All he's got to do is just put pressure on the quarterback, and he wins.
Yeah.
That's the only time in the history of Saban's tenure as a coach. We had season tickets, and I left that Alabama-Ole Miss game with Chad Kelly when Ole Miss got up, I think, 14 or 17 points in the fourth quarter, and went back to the parking deck and listened to the rest of it on the radio. But that's the only Saban game I've left many an Alabama game early, but I've never left an Alabama game when they were losing. And I left that Ole Miss game in the fourth quarter because I couldn't stand what I was watching.
Yeah.
Just everything went south in that game.
You know what Alabama did the rest of that season? Jake Coker ended up becoming the starter. Cooper Bateman started that game. Jake Coker led Alabama to the national championship.
Why did they start Cooper Bateman in that game? Jake had started the first two games and had played fine. That was a red flag to me. That you talk about sometimes coaches don't get it or know who their best players are. But they didn't. It was obvious who the best quarterback was, and they didn't think he was the best quarterback, so they didn't start him. What's that say about the coaches?
Yeah. Well,
it's almost 8 o'clock, Dad. We need to take a break.
Well, we will. We'll take a break right here. We'll be back in just a moment.
sale days on GE appliances at Bracken Appliance in Enterprise and Dothan. Our warehouses are loaded with appliances. Get great savings on these 4 sets of washers and dryers, starting as low as $449 each or $898 for the pair. Shop now for special savings on GE laundry at Bracken Appliance in Enterprise and Dothan. Take it home with you or Bracken will deliver. Buy local.
Check out the scoreboard. J.D. Power's #1 in initial quality midsize truck. Jeep Gladiator. 0 APR for 36 months. And no payments for 90 days. Shop PremierTroy.com today during Jeep Adventure Days and save thousands. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Check out the scoreboard. J.D. Power's #1 in initial quality truck. Ram. #1 longest lasting truck. Ram. Right now. Get 0% APR for 72 months on new Ram. Shop PremierTroy.com during Ram Power Days and save. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Bracken Appliance, the largest appliance store in the Wiregrass, is the place to go to find your dream kitchen. Choose from names like Wolf, Sub-Zero, GE's Cafe Line, and KitchenAid. If a dream kitchen is in your future, you owe it to yourself to shop Bracken Appliance. Bracken specializes in customer service, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff with that special touch to make you feel welcome. Dream no more about your new kitchen. Find it at Bracken Appliance. Come on in, buy local and take it with you, or Bracken will deliver.
Back to our show, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks on the bypass right in Troy right now. They've got another huge deal on new and used cars from Premier. And of course, I was looking at him today, and they say that they've got more good than used cars than they've had on that lot before, and that's saying a lot from Jason Gregory. And of course, could just drive in there and just take a look at the tremendous offering they have of new and used cars and trucks from Premier. And of course, I want to mention Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need, and that tells me the truth every day today that I walk in there.
I bet they all know you and speak to you, and you know them.
They sure do. They sure do. They're very nice people.
It's completely different than all these other chain franchise banks. It's just a home-owned bank. Been here for, gosh, I wonder how long, 100 years?
Yeah. A long time, no question about it.
Locally owned, great people. It is the only bank you'll ever need. Whoever came up with that slogan it hit a home run.
No question about it. Of course, we move around, do everything we want to.
It's laid back
TV. We're not trying to impress anybody. We hope our conversation leads to something.
And if you don't like what we're talking about, just hang with us, because we're going to change and start talking about something.
You're exactly right. And of course, we were talking about Premier, and they've got what they call a 72-hour used car clearance, and
wow.
They still got the payments as low as $99 a month, over 150 new and used cars and trucks to choose from, and they've got them listed right here. Do you think that he believes in advertisement? Do you think Jason Gregory believes in advertising his product?
You know, that I know something about newspaper ads. That takes a long time to build that ad, because look at all that you list. Every car you got, not every car, but most of them, describe it, and then you put the price in big red letter.
Look at that. This is amazing. What he does to advertise his business, and and then by him advertising his business, the newspapers are making a little money and
well, newspapers, people.
Things, yeah.
You don't have a newspaper if you don't have advertising. As I was a former newspaper publisher myself, and why am I no longer a newspaper publisher? Because I did not have enough advertising.
Well, all right, listen to this. People, let's just say there's some people out there that need an automobile. It takes an automobile to get around with your children and go to work and whatever you use your vehicle for. He's got a list of under $10,000 for a car, and it starts with a Town and Country 2014, a Dodge Ram truck 2006. It just goes on with F-150. They have all types of good-looking used
and
cars
all price points, yeah.
Under, we're trying to say starting to $29.95. You've got a GM Sierra. I saw this car, $1,500. The Sierra 1500 just for $3,000. But of course, under the tent is where the big sale is going on, and only quality pre-owned inventory for $2,995 and no 0% interest on 2021s, and they've got a great new bunch of Jeeps in today.
Now,
due to COVID, I was watching a show the other day. They said, a lot of the big car manufacturing companies in the United States were not able to produce as many cars just due to lack of workers, and that's why the used car business, even at actually car dealerships, are so big right now. You see way more used cars on lots than you do actual inventory.
Yeah.
On
well, also they got part issues. The supply chain has been messed up. Parts have to come from China or somewhere, and if you don't have the part, you can't build the car, and so they're not. Can't build the cars like they used to.
Well, let me.
Also, it's smart on Jeremy's part. I mean, he knows this. He grew up with his dad. He's been in this business his whole life, but his dad was, hugely successful in the Columbus, Georgia area, Phoenix City area. But it's so much easier to sell a used car compared to a brand new car. I mean, price point wise, and you're much more likely to have somebody come in there and buy something within the first day or the second day than somebody shelling out maybe $25,000-$30,000 more on something new.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. Let's just say I need the guy's got a big family and he needs another vehicle. Well, right now on their lot they have several cars for $29.95. That's right at $3,000. And listen to this. With that $3,000. Your payment is going to be as low as $99 a month. You ought to be able to handle that, $99 a month, over 150 new used cars and trucks. But again, like I mentioned, $29 down, $99
Good morning,
per month,
you're on Today in L.A.
And you just can't beat a
Max, how you this morning?
premier.
Hey, I watched the playback of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Troy University TV the other night, and you did a great job.
I didn't have to say anything. I just stood up.
I know it.
All right, Max. This is a great question. We've been talking about this ever since the shocking loss to La Monroe as a 23.5-point favorite. I mean, you go back with Troy football even longer than Mike Amos, which is almost impossible. How shocked were you to see that score in Monroe, Louisiana on Saturday night?
I didn't think Troy must not even gotten off the bus, Michael. I don't know what the heck happened. I mean, how do you go from 23 to losing by 13? That's a 36-point swing. Mm-hmm. That's 5 touchdowns. How do you do that?
You don't, like you said, you don't get off the bus.
Did they not come to play?
Well, I mean, Dad and I watched the game. I mean, Dad watched more of it than I couldn't stomach most of it, but I mean, Terry Bowden has won 177 games. Rich Rodriguez has won 170. I mean, their third game as a program that had lost 12 straight football games until they beat Deion Sanders and Jackson State 12-7. So this is their first year. Their first year in their third game. This was Chip Lindsey's third season and his fourth game. It just shouldn't happen.
No, I agree with you. I agree 100%. I don't. Somebody didn't prepare. I don't know whether it was what prepared on the field or prepared psychologically. They got to go hand in hand. I was totally shocked. I'll be honest with you.
And
I think you're right. They were not psychologically prepared.
What's the backlash coming out of Troy right now?
oh boy.
Oh well, we're still.
Oh, it's not positive.
Well,
If you go on social media, there's two words you see, and one starts with an F and the other one starts with a C.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not going there. We're gonna.
Well, it's not a dirty word. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, but
that's what you see on social media.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let me tell you this.
I don't see. Personally, I don't know how you defend that from a coach's perspective. I don't know how you. First of all, in a team, when you're preparing for a team like that, you can't look past them, but you have to prepare to win. I mean, that's just. I don't understand. I'm totally frustrated. I was in the game 32 years on the sideline at every level, except the NFL, high school, junior college, Division I, national championships, at almost at every level. And I never participated in a situation like that where we got beat by a team we were favored by 23 points.
we haven't talked about it, but it makes you also wonder about the leadership on the team. That they didn't get their teammates ready to play, or they weren't mentally ready to play either.
But Bill, the coach is supposed to see that during the week.
Yeah, right.
You know where they are.
Yeah.
And it is what you do with those guys. When as soon as you see that happening on the field, you get that guy out of there, those 2 or 3 guys, and you sit them down a while. And let the twos play. You get their attention one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's the perfect example of Troy had 19 of 21 starters coming back. But Troy had 19 of 21 starters coming back from a 5-6 team and a 5-7 team. So how do you look at that? I mean, do you look at that as a positive, or do you look at that they're finally going to turn the corner? It looks like it's pretty much the same Troy that we've had the last couple of years.
But you know what that tells you? Somebody's not doing the job from the sidelines. Doing practice during the week and on Saturday.
Well, let me ask this. This indicated to me how we were operating on offense. The ball is on Troy's own 2-yard line, and they're trying to get out of trouble. On 2-yard line. They run a play-action pass in the end zone, and you know what happened. They ran play action, Max, from the end zone.
And they got to say,
Does he supposed to have time? Does the play action passer supposed to have time to throw the ball?
Well, the deal, you're right. The deal is that's a slow developing play.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you got a bull rush. You got a bull rush, and you run a play action pass.
Yeah, well, I'll say that's just a mistake. Those kind of mistakes, though, Mike, are glaring when you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The guys that win can get away with that kind of stuff, even if
Yeah.
they give up a safety out of it.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, that was a glaring thing that jumped out because of the overall picture.
Yeah, that's right.
That game didn't get lost by that one play. I can tell you that.
But
I mean, I'll just say this. I mean, Georgia Southern just fired their coach, Chad Lumford. He went 1-3. The last 3 seasons, Georgia Southern had been to 3 straight bowl games.
and he beat Troy
And
last year.
they fire their coach when he starts the season 1-3. So I mean, does Georgia Southern? I mean, how do you compare those programs, Georgia Southern to Troy? Don't you say we're kind of equals, even though they won a lot more national championships and they won a lot more national championships than Troy in 1AA under Herb Russell, and Paul Johnson as well. But I mean, it's just hard to figure.
Well, something internally is going on, and I don't know whether it's a spill over from all the off-field mess that y'all had down there last year or not. I don't have any clue. But I can tell you from an observer outside, the focus and the dedication to build that program is not there right now. I don't know where, but it has to start with the top guy.
think that Troy is going to give South Carolina a pretty much straight-up game. If South Carolina is only a 7-point favorite at home. So I guess we're going to find out a lot this weekend.
I agree with you. I agree. But when you don't prepare, let's just say Troy goes to South Carolina and plays them, within a few points or even upsets them. Well, then here'll be the definition and the definitive part for losing to Louisiana Monroe. We were prepping for South Carolina, and I've heard that story, used over and over. But guys, you can't overlook in today's marketplace with a scholarship situation like this. You can't overlook anybody. Mm-hmm. You don't know on any given day.
Yep. Well, look at Auburn and Georgia State.
Everybody thinks Ole Miss has got a great chance against Alabama. I mean, you're in Mississippi. You're around a lot of Ole Miss fans, a lot of supporters. What's your opinion on that game?
Well, I'll tell you, Kiffin is probably one of the brightest play callers, according to Dick Saban, even in the country. And I agree with that. They don't have the talent, obviously, that Alabama's got. But I'll tell you what he does. He worked against that defense. Remember, he worked against that defense every day for 3 years.
Yep.
He knows the scheme. He knows if they shake the outside eye, they're going to give the inside. He knows the defensive backs playing head up, that they got a choice. He knows if they shake the inside eye, they're going to give the outside. I can just give you all the intricacies that he knows that 99% of the coaches don't know that plays Alabama. And they're going to score. The over and under is 77.5, and I take the over in a heartbeat.
Gosh.
Last year they scored 100, by the way.
Yeah. I don't, Alabama can prep all it wants, but I don't think they can stop this offense.
I could easily see 49-35. I can see a score like that.
Yeah, and I think Alabama pulls away at the end. I think it's the first 3 quarters, I think it's going to be outstanding football. I really do.
I do too.
And also, I'll tell you this. If any assistant that Coach Saban's had will beat him, it'll be Lane Kiffin. I don't know whether it'll be at Ole Miss or not, but, I made the statement about Kirby Smart the other day. I said, finally Kirby has recruited players that can overcome his coaching. and I do believe that. Kirby's not smart enough to beat Dick Saban on the sideline.
What about Mike Leach to Mississippi State? Do you think that was a good hire? You think that was the right fit? Do you think he's going to make it, or you think he's going to be moving on?
That system will not work in the SEC. I'm telling you, I said it from the day he got here. The way he ran up points in Big 12 in the Pac, 12, they don't play defense out there. People have already come up. If I was coaching the defensive side, I'd have already, they'd already been down to number 3 quarterback. I'd have had him knocked out long before now. They completed 47 passes this past week, only going over 25 yards. Everything was less than 10 and less. When you stop that, you bring more. You blitz more than they got blockers for. Nobody's done that. They're rushing 3 now, maybe 2.
Isn't there by playing a soft zone and just dropping people back and and making?
That's right. But see, he can.
I thought about what you said last week for his Orgeron, maybe coaching for his life. And boy, he was passionate during that game. He was yelling, he was screaming, and is he like on a 1 game? If he was losing at home to Auburn, could it be over for him?
It could very well be. I don't know whether it would fire him right now, Michael, but he knows he's on the seat. It's game by game with him. The heat will be, if he loses to Auburn, the heat will be turned up, and he's got a good chance to. I'll tell you.
Especially if his former backup quarterback beats him.
What happened? Oh, yeah.
If I was Auburn, I'd start TJ Finley in a heartbeat. In Baton Rouge.
Do you feel like there'll be a quarterback change?
I don't know how. I don't know the internal workings, Mike. A lot of that gets to be political, and that's the way I think. Bo Nix is not an outstanding quarterback. He's an average quarterback. He doesn't have the speed to be a runner, but he's got happy feet and a heartbeat. That's mainly because his offensive front's not very good. I don't blame Parkinson for making that change. Like I said, if I was coaching him, I'd have Finley starting quarterback right now myself. Particularly going into Baton Rouge this week.
I think Finley can. He just has a better arm. It looks like to me. The downfield passing game would be better with him.
Yeah, he can run too.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to tackle. I wouldn't want to tackle him. Would you want to stand in front of the 6'7"?
How much does he weigh? 250.
Yeah.
6'7", 250. That's the biggest. 6'7", how tall he is.
He looks like a power forward in basketball.
I never looked at it like that.
I don't know if y'all watched UCLA against LSU, but UCLA dominated Auburn on the offensive line and defensive line, and I think Auburn should be able to run the ball on LSU, I would think.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is LSU's running game is completely
remember this,
gone.
though, guys. LSU was without singly the defensive back and their best pass rusher, the big defensive tackle. Both of those guys were out this past week. That will help them mentally, nothing else. Auburn's going to be in for a battle, but I think they got a chance to win the way LSU's played.
Right. How long's it been since they won in Baton Rouge? 1999.
I think that's what you told me.
I think that's right. Yeah.
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was a lot of good Auburn teams that went in there too.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you, Max, this is the best weekend of college football so far. And I look at both these kids at Ole Miss and at Alabama. Both of them were actually at Southern Cal at one time while they were recruited by them.
They're both from California.
Southern.
Bryce Young from California and Corrales from California.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Both California boys.
And they're both the number one and number two in the Heisman Trophy. You've got the Corral, depending on who you look at, the Ole Miss quarterback is the favorite to win the Heisman, or Alabama's quarterback. So
what has Alabama got to do to minimize Corral? I don't think they'll stop him, but the pressure.
They're going to absolutely put a spy on him. They can't use two inside linebackers. They're going to have to put a spy on him because the kid scored 4 touchdowns the first quarter against Tulane running the ball.
Yes, sir. That's
so
what
they're going to have to spy him, so that cuts that. Basically, what that does is cuts the defense down to 10 players.
Yeah.
He's kind of got a little bit of Johnny Manziel in him. He's not as fast, but he can definitely run. He's surprisingly a good runner.
Yeah.
Well, what he does that too, Michael. He does that to keep that defense, honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll tell you one thing that he's got about him. I tell you what he's got. He's got guts. He's not afraid at all. This quarterback is.
He's a cocky too.
This quarterback is not afraid of Alabama. I'll tell you that right now.
Here's the thing. You let him run a few times, and Alabama, pops him. Anderson puts that hat on him a couple of times, and you have to carry him off. It's over.
Yeah. The sad thing. The sad thing about this game and even the Auburn LSU game. 3 or 4, and I'm talking about that many players, 3 or 4 players are going to get caught with the doggone targeting.
Yeah.
And they hadn't done anything. All they did was play football, and we got officials telling us that he can't play because he butted his head.
We got too many rules that they're too eager to enforce.
What you used to do, I've seen you coach, Max. When you were at Troy, you were real enthusiastic, coach. You brought a lot of enthusiasm to practice. And when somebody made a big hit, you ran up there and grabbed him and hugged him and hugged him and hugged him.
I jump in the pile, Mike.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. You got into the pile. I'm gonna tell you something that I was told, and I think it's the truth. Max, hear this. They no longer allow at practice the Oklahoma drill. They have taken that. They have told their coaches they cannot run that drill at practice.
Well,
the Oklahoma drill.
Thing, is we all understand the safety thing. See, I go back to the equipment deal. I mean, you can't tell me if we put a man on the moon, they can build a helmet that'll absorb the blows and allow you to use that. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the safety thing. And they'd rather overdo it than not.
I think.
If you notice, guys, the kids still instinctively do it. Use that head.
Yeah.
I think they have made the helmet too good, and that's why people use their head. It's counterintuitive. Jerry Jones said this in an article that Barry McKnight's brother wrote for Sports Illustrated. That the response might be to go to a much lighter helmet or even take face mask off of helmets.
I wish
They won't do that,
We've
but
got all
that-
these helmets in front of us.
But that is why people lead with their head, where when my dad was playing and you were playing, Max, you probably did not do that because what would happen?
Played with a Rydell.
You left with your arms and your shoulders.
Now it was at the end of it was the beginning of my coaching careers when they started teaching to use the head. That was, that was.
Oh yeah, right there.
Oh, and I'll be honest with you guys, Coach Brown's one that brought that to this part.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, he taught him to use that.
Yeah, wanted to hit him in the sternum, and no question how many sternum injuries they had back then too.
So I mean, we can talk all we want to about right and wrong. Well, I do think the officials are they overplay that, and I think if they're going to keep that rule in, they certainly need to, maybe if they have to just, remove a player from here, give it the next week off that's awful. That has nothing to do with the, basically with the, because the coaches, they know the coaches don't teach that. So they penalize the team for leaving their star player, he's normally a good defensive back or linebacker, they leave him on the sideline for the beginning part of the next ball game. That's a detriment to the program.
You know where that showed up is Auburn had that player that was kicked out of the game and couldn't play the first half against Georgia State as one of their key linebackers. Well, what happened to Auburn in the first half of the next game? They got gashed by Georgia State. Then that linebacker can come back in the second half, and what did Auburn do? They shut that team. One player was held out of the game because of some rule that nobody agrees with.
I was looking for
Max, I'm around a lot of Florida State supporters. It's great, and they're just scratching their heads, don't know what to do. They just assume they're going to lose every game from here on out. I mean, you think they're going to make a move with Norval, or they're going to let him finish out the year?
I don't know. That's a great question. I get asked that constantly. Here's the thing: Norvell had a good track record before he got there, and somewhat a lower. Memphis was a little bit lower as far as competition was concerned, and he had no talent, zero. And I think some of the hardcore Florida State fans don't want to admit how the program got like it is. But it's awful. I'm gonna tell you, guys watching it, and I try to tune into it, but I can't sit and watch a whole ball game. I mean,
if you were Lane Kiffin and LSU didn't come open, Orgeron ended up having a great year and stayed at LSU, and Florida State came open, would Kiffin leave Ole Miss for a Florida State?
I don't know, but he'd leave it to LSU.
Maybe for enough money.
But don't you think he's the type kind of guy that could bring Florida State back to win an ACC against Clemson every year?
Yeah.
I don't think it's in doubt, but the Florida State still doesn't have the financial resources LSU's got. You guys don't understand that program is not basically run by the university. That program is run strictly by the boosters. The closest thing the administration has is they house the football team, and they let them play in that stadium. They don't have very, very little. When Weatherby was the president there, when they made the change for Coach Bowden, he was the only contact Coach Bowden had in the whole administration, basically. And I mean, it's really strange how it evolved to that, but it has. And now I think they don't know what to do with it. They really don't. They don't. See, internally, you got some guys sitting internally at that university who care less about that football program.
Really?
We're going to take a short break, you guys, and we'll be right back.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, no.
Check out the scoreboard. J.D. Power's #1 in initial quality midsize truck. Jeep Gladiator. 0 APR for 36 months. And no payments for 90 days. Shop PremierTroy.com today during Jeep Adventure Days and save thousands. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
We're celebrating our Driver Appreciation Week. We're so happy to have Truckworks here.
We just want to recognize Truckworks for what they do for us. Absolute great partners. They've really stepped up here on Driver Appreciation Week. They came in here, and I mean, not hamburgers and hot dogs, Boston butts and the grilled chicken, the really, really prima stuff. So, man, we so much appreciate you guys and what you do for us.
Wally Sanders Truck Line, we know one thing. Drivers first.
Run it.
Welcome to ESPN College Football.
This is going to be wild. Run it.
Check out the scoreboard. J.D. Power's #1 in initial quality truck. Ram. #1 longest lasting truck. Bam. Right now. Get 0% APR for 72 months on new Ram. Shop PremierTroy.com during Ram Power Days and save. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Eternal feeling down there right now.
All right, we're back on there.
Right now, to stay with them. They're playing South Carolina, and of course, Max, you're Troy against South Carolina. Do you give Troy a chance?
Not really. No, I watched South Carolina last week. My daughter's a season ticket holder there, and I talked to her this morning. I mean, they think they're gonna get healthy by beating Troy this weekend.
And then they got a good young coach, and people believe in him already.
Oh yeah, Shane Beamer's. You know, he's another one that is hard to get kids to come to South Carolina. There's been two successful coaches there, Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier.
Yeah.
Beamer does not fit in that category, but you know, if they can be competitive there, that you know, they got to show wins.
Yeah.
They got to play schools like Troy at that level, you know, to gain some confidence in themselves. And Beamer's got to, you know.
So you believe it actually be a run? I mean, just they'll run over Troy.
You can't tell that. There's nobody that knows anything about it can tell you. You don't know what the mindset is. It's no more than Troy going into Louisiana Monroe. Would anybody have bet on Louisiana Monroe?
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, think about it.
But you know what? You know what? I'm gonna make you laugh before we go out there. You know, a lot of people think Vanderbilt needs to be playing UConn. Are you still on the line, Will? You still on the line?
They are playing UConn. They're playing them this week.
All right. They say that's the 129th and 130th best teams in the country.
That might be their only win this year, Mike.
You know, they're ranked last.
They beat Colorado State now, Max, on the road. Vandy actually has a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you a team that y'all can laugh at again. I think Texas might have turned the corner this week. I think Texas is going to be a much tougher team to beat from here on out.
They didn't hire Sarkisian just to come out there, you know.
That's right.
Hang around. He scored 70.
I mean, that against a pretty good football team, too. You know, that's amazing. You know, it really is. We've got a great...
All right, Max, when we talk to you next week, who's going to win the Auburn-LSU game, who's going to win Alabama-Ole Miss, and who's going to win Troy-South Carolina?
You want it on the air? You want
it on the air? Yes, sir. And then people are getting their pens and pencils ready.
Well, you know, I don't think there's any doubt. Alabama's going to beat Ole Miss. They'll beat them in the fourth quarter. I think LSU beats Auburn because they're playing at home. But you know, that's a toss-up. You know what? The line 3.5 at home. That's a pick game. Great.
That's right. That's right.
So I think it depends on if they get Stigley back to play. I think how the defense plays more than how the offense plays with LSU against Auburn. And then I think what kind of game plan Auburn has going in. Do they start Nix back again, or do they throw Finley in there? It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. And then you got to take South Carolina over Troy. Troy coming off a loss that they had. If you look at the comparison of the programs, the SEC team, you know, versus Troy.
I tell you, a sleeper game. A lot of people probably not paying attention to, but Florida traveling to Kentucky. Kentucky will probably play them straight up.
No,
in my opinion.
No.
They're going to be Florida.
Florida's got a lot more people, a lot better football team.
I don't know. Kentucky had, I think, 4 turnovers against South Carolina. They got a lot better offense they've had in previous years. Duke's a good defensive coach. Florida's traveling to Kentucky. I don't think that's going to be a blowout by any means.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you the upset of the week is going to be Troy upsetting South Carolina.
That's what winners are made of.
Troy is going to put it together against South Carolina. Wait and see. Yeah, hey, Will said the same thing.
I know Dad lives in Troy, so he's got to be politically correct.
No, I'm not a politically correct guy. I'm not a politically correct guy. Hey, Troy wins.
That's what your gut's telling you.
Troy's going to win the football game. Troy's going to win the football game.
He talked to
How they do
the
that,
safety
Mike?
and
How
the.
they do that?
They do it with
Grocery
good sound defense, and they
get a few breaks.
They get a few breaks, but they're gonna do it with sound defense.
And then the quarterback.
Well, if they do that,
That's a great game.
how did they lose to Louisiana Monroe?
Well, I don't know. We're gonna say the same. We're gonna be saying the same thing up here. That's why we're gonna be saying, "How in the world could we figure it?" But Mike Amos, for
You know
some
what
reason,
that is? That comes from the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, consistency.
Well,
When Coach from Carolina puts 50 on La Monroe this weekend,
Right.
I think that's going to be something we're going to look at.
all right, something very important. Over under on Ole Miss and what is over under right now?
76. Somebody said.
77 and a half.
77 and a half.
77
Whoa,
and a half.
whoa! That's unreal.
That
Well,
line dropped to 14, I think,
Yeah.
yesterday, 14 and a half. It started off at 7.
all right. Well, you gonna be cooking this weekend or what?
You know what, Mike? I'm on the road so much now. I do a show. I do a show on an internet station that's nationally. I have to tape it on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night.
I
It takes me
understand
4
that.
hours to tape a 1 hour show.
So you won't be cooking this weekend, but you will be in the near future.
Well, probably so. I may go all the way through football and not cook on Sunday night, though.
All right, buddy. Take care here.
All right,
And
guys,
ladies and
thank y'all so
gentlemen,
much.
have a great weekend, a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll be
bright
back
and early.
tomorrow.
Yes, sir.